This is the Pirate's Gospel by Alela Diane. This is released in 2004 by themselves. At first they released it on CDR, a recordable CD. Her father made this recording and they used their friends and a lot of family to make the music over here. Now in 2006, this CD is from 2006, is where they made it a more official release. It has 11 songs on them, and as I just told, they did their own recording, and what you don't get here is premium audiophile quality sound or a perfect musical performance, but what you do get is a lot of people who love to make music and they make it together, and it shows in this CD, if you ask me. The strength of this album for me is that it is not filled to the brim with all kind of instruments, all kind of effects, different little sounds, but all that they have done is make sure that it is done in a very sparsely way. Every instrument that is on this CD is there just because it has to be there. If it shouldn't be there, it is not there. So what is not needed is just left out, and still, or maybe because of it, this album is very captivating. It is very refreshing from all those CDs that are just too much like a wall of sound, but without any finesse. Now her voice, it is not your standard beautiful voice. It is a wonderful voice and it has a little bit of a piercing quality to it, but where beautiful voices can sometimes be a bit boring or without authority, this voice has a demanding quality that I like very much. You want to listen to this music. Now the title song is a good starter, and it has some wonderful additional voices on it, on all kind of these songs. But my favorite song is Pieces of String. This is just a voice, a guitar, and every now and then there are some extra voices coming in there. There's a part where she uses a children's choir, probably just from family and friends, and it is not perfect in the sense that they are not completely following the rhythm, but this gives it a very endearing quality and it makes it very pure to listen to. This is not boring perfection. This is people who love to make music and they made a great album. Now this is the 2006 release. It has a little booklet, something about the musicians. This is the CD. And this, I'm not sure what the official name of this art is, but this is, if I'm correct, something that she does herself. And her first releases, this is the 2006 official release, but when she released it on CDR, they covered it with the real fabric like this, if I'm not correctly. So I am still looking for one of those, but I don't have that one. But that's why this is in there. If you bought the first release on CDR, the cover of the CD would have actual fabric on it. Now, of course, there's a record that she made. This is nice thick paper and it has all the lyrics, something the CD does not have. Excuse me. It has a wonderful picture, and this is probably the information that was in the booklet over here. But interesting is that when there is 11 songs on the CD, there's 13 songs on the records. And this is 2006. And then in 2018 they released it again, a remastered version. This is a nice double LP. Again, you see this craft over here. This is her. Maybe this is where she lived. I don't know. But over here there is not 13 but 21 songs on it, placed on 2 LPs. So it has the lyrics on it and it has more artwork on it. So if you are listening to this CD, this is not perfect audiophile quality, but this is a good example of people loving to make music and doing it in a very nice way. Give it a listen. Alela Diane, and this is the Pirates Gospel. This is Hush by Yo-Yo Ma and Bobby McFerrin, but this is a Bobby McFerrin CD. This thing is released in 1992 by Sony. Now many people of course know Bobby McFerrin from Don't Worry Be Happy, and maybe that's the only thing you know of him. But he also made a lot of other CDs, jazz CDs, and nowadays he is much more into classical music, even as a classical director. So this CD is somewhere in between those two periods, having popular songs on it and combined with a lot of classical influences. Now Bobby McFerrin is more of a voice artist than a singer. And he also uses his body as a percussion instrument, and together with Yo-Yo Ma, the great cello artist, they made an album that is hard to categorize, so I'm not even going to try that. The recording quality of this album is pretty good. It says here, for this recording 20-bit technology was used for high definition sound. Now, I don't know what that means. Well, I do of course, but this sounds pretty good. But in order to fully appreciate this album, you should really first understand the incredible things that Bobby McFerrin can do with his voice and his body. And once you understand how difficult it actually is what he is doing on this CD, only then can you fully appreciate this album. Now that does not mean that the music part of this CD is not interesting. On the contrary. They used a lot of songs that you have probably heard of before, but the arrangement is something that you have never heard before. You see there is Andante from Vivaldi, Flight of the Bumblebee, Hush Little Baby you probably know, there's Ave Maria. So there's a lot of things, a lot of songs here that you know, but the arrangement for cello and voice, human instrument, what is the best way to call it? That's what makes this CD especially interesting. A good when you start first listening to this CD, a good start to immediately understand that this is not a normal musical CD is number 7, the Musette from Bach, and it has a comedy start to it, and it absolutely shows you what these two people are doing, and it makes it much more logical to listen to the rest of the CD. Now another thing is the first time my girlfriend heard number 10, Ave Maria, on this album, and I have to say, by the way, this CD was a birthday present from my girlfriend 28 years ago, and I still enjoy both of them. But anyways, the first time she heard Ave Maria, she said, "But when is he breathing?" So But just try to sing along with Bobby on number 10, Ave Maria, and you will understand why she said that. Also, the cello from Yo-Yo Ma is beautiful on this album, and the Ave Maria track is a prime example of how beautiful that cello is. Now let's have a look at the CD. There's a little booklet. Now it looks like you get a lot of information, but that's not true. It is in English, it is in German, it is in French, and it is, I think, in Italian. Now that's interesting for those who are into classical music and you know the old vinyl boxes for a complete opera. You will always get those languages to follow the opera. So that's interesting, but actually all the information is just what is on this one page. You get the track listing on the rear, and there is just a little CD. They used to sell these push things. I don't know if you have ever seen those. I bought those maybe 20 years ago, and some of them still work, but most of them broke down. But actually this was quite a good system to get your CDs out of your case. So that is Bobby McFerrin, Yo-Yo Ma, the album Hush. Give it a listen. This is Belafonte Sings the Blues by Harry Belafonte, and this is released in 2016 by Sony. Now the recording, however, is made in 1958, so some 60 years ago, and there are a lot of amazing recordings from that period, and this is also one of those albums that makes you wonder, what have recording engineers been doing for the last 60 years? A lot of modern day albums do not have this wonderful sound quality from 60 years ago. They're not even close. Now it was of course the prime area of pure analog recordings. Well, I'm just saying. Anyways, this will be a short review because this is a great recording. If this album doesn't sound amazing on your system, there must be something wrong. I really believe you have to work hard to make this sound bad. Now Mr. Belafonte of course has a history of more Caribbean sounding music or more songs for the masses, but this blues album really is something special. I am still looking for the vinyl album, but at $50 it's too expensive for me. But give this a listen. This is a great album full of wonderful blues songs, and it will make your system sound as best as it can. So what's inside here? Why haven't they found a better way to release these booklets for the last 40 years? Anyways, this is the original liner notes from the 1958 LP. It has the track listing, who is playing on it, and this is the originally how the rear of the LP looked like, and here you have these liner notes that you have inside of here also. Now the tracks are in a different order on the CD. Here's the CD, nice picture of Harry Belafonte. And this is not the original lineup from the songs, but they are the same songs. So if you want to know what a good analog recording can sound like, make sure to give this album a listen.